Okay, so for week 5, I have in the Harry Crew video, he says that everything was stories and stories were everything. And I believe that this explains a lot about Southern literature. From the PowerPoint that he has on Blackboard, we can see that many works were based around teaching lessons and giving examples of how to do right and wrong. In the short story, A Good Man is Hard to Find, O'Connor can be classified as using Southern grotesque, again as seen as in our PowerPoint. She uses the term misfit to signify him as being an outsider or the bad guy, and she also uses violence, which is something that's very common in Southern literature. For example, the family is in an accident and then they eventually all die. One of the critiques on page 957 in our textbook by Stephen Bandy, he notes that the violence in the end with the grandmother is very strong and graphic, but quotes O'Connor herself saying that if I took out this gesture and what she says with it, I would have no story. In our PowerPoint, it is said that O'Connor believes that violence is necessary to force the reader into a certain belief or frame of mind, referencing religion and Christianity at this point. I think religion is also a common theme in Southern literature. The South is historically very conservative and focuses a lot on the church and stories about that. We can see this in O'Connor's short story again when the grandmother is telling the misfit just to pray that if he, she thinks that he comes from good people and if he would just ask Jesus for help, then he would help him, and then they could avoid the outcome of the story. Going back to Harry Crew's video, he's talking about when they would do the possum and burying what was left with its eyes down so that if he awoke from the dead or something, then he wouldn't be able to dig up and come get you. He grossly describes this process, but again, like in the short story, it captures your attention and almost frightens you into doing the quote-unquote right thing. So I think that's something that's common in Southern literature, where authors will write grotesquely, but it either scares, maybe is not the best term, but pushes the reader or listener into a certain belief.